We live, yes, we are live. It looks like we're live. Couple of buttons to press, you know the drill. Right. I see, and Fran and Kim. Anyone else here? You know the drill. Say hello if you're here. Looks like the stream's starting on that page, so I just need to pause that. Yeah. We are all good to go. Hello, folks. Welcome to the studio. We've got probably about 2.5 hour session today. I've got to shoot off about 10ish tonight, which is 2.5 hours. I've got to go and, well, got to head home, family stuff going on, that sort of stuff. But I'm in the studio tonight. I've been working on some tutorials. Yeah, making some bunkers. Quite chuffed with the mold lines on these, actually. Come out quite nice. Don't want to fiddle with them too much, they're still drying. Yeah, obviously I've finished doing the studio up and it's looking rather nice. Yeah, clean studio, 28, Rick, Graham, James, Graham. Yeah, studio's looking rather good. Would you like a quick tour? Yeah, let's go for the other camera. Yeah. Okay, so other camera, right. So, hello. Right, let's have a look. So, over there, that's you guys. Yeah, and you guys are on this big shelf that I've built. Yeah, which goes all the way along there. And if we come over to here, yeah, cable's a bit short, but over there we've got all my shelving. Yeah, and that is 2 foot deep, so I can get 2x2 tiles on it. Yeah, coming across, we've got the display cabinet with my chindits in. Yeah, a few empty shelves. They're going to get, they're going to be filled up rather soon as I get my models down. Yeah, then we've got all my racking with, all my drawers and all my bits and stuff in it. Yeah, the door, obviously. Yeah, then coming around to the desk. Yeah, let's see if I might have to go over across this side, show you the desk. So give me a second. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, so there's the desk now. Yeah, all my bits on the right hand side. I've got my camera and my monitor where I've started doing tutorials and stuff. I've got a nice big shelf around it for all my bits and everything. Yeah, so it's looking good. Yeah, and then obviously that's all the way around. Right, let me just go back to the normal scene. There you go. So yes, overall, it's looking rather good in here. It took a little bit longer than I thought. Nice pink monitor. I love my pink monitor. Curious as to what glue to use. Yeah, it is Elmer's. I use PVA, which is Elmer's is a brand of PVA. Idea you get some stick down that plastic to use drawers will make for keeping a tabletop cleaner. Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, you remember to turn the buttons on. What buttons? Yeah, so the studio is all sorted. I've got my Burma build stuff on the table. Yeah, because I'm working on. I've got no I've got no commissions on at the minute. I've got to do a Blood Bowl table for for Jace, but I've got no actual big commissions on at the minute. So I'm simply down to tutorials and my Burma build, which I'm quite happy about. Looking better than my bomb site. And do you fancy doing mine? No. This was long enough. This took long enough. Is that tabletop MDF? It is. Yeah, it's on top of the kitchen tabletop. Now, we do have a visitor tonight. Yeah, he will be joining us shortly. I've got Fred coming up to join us. Okay, and the battle plan with that is that Fred's coming up, yeah, to talk about colours. Yeah, specifically watercolours. I've got some more resin, I've got some more tint. I want to do a bit of a terrain lab on it and see if I can nail it down of what tints, what colours, all that sort of stuff. So we're bringing old Fredicus in because that man knows colours. Yeah? Great idea, gonna have to do that stuff. Go for your boots, mate. It's just a 6x4. It's actually my gaming table, believe it or not. Yeah, it's kind of messy on this side, but it's quite clean on the other side. And one of the jobs I want to do is I want to paint it ready for us to get into so I can start playing bolt action in the studio. Kim saying, wow, the invisible man is in the studio. You should be making a D-Day table. Nah, I had a chat with Kez. I made the right decision there. Yeah, I'm not disappearing from the channel for 3 months. Nah. Yeah. Hey Mel, hey Nick. Alan, question. I used blue insulation foam and tried to paint it. Is there any way to use a rattle can paint without melting the foam? You can you can give the blue foam a coat of watered down PVA first, and that'll act as a coating, or you can give it a coat of watered down filler, and that'll help. You can spray from a distance of about 2 foot away. Yeah, it's not actually the paint that melts the foam, it's the propellant in the paint. Yeah, so you can actually spray further away and that will not have the same effect. Yeah, you can, occasionally if you spray too hard in one area you get a little bit of melting. If you really are insistent on using spray foams, spray cans, then go for foam safe sprays. You can get cans which come with alcohol as their propellant. Yeah, rather than whatever it is in the normal cans, and that doesn't melt foam, so it's perfectly safe to go over foam. It also dries really quickly. One of you guys put me onto it. Alcohol-based primer. Dries really quick, really nice. Rewind. I found this channel a few weeks ago, and I just saw one of the Fable Realms map video. I was hooked. Welcome aboard, bud. I saw a picture of the Fable Realms. It's in Gen Con as we speak, and Dave Taylor sent me a photo of it. It's looking rather nice. No Joseph yet? Wonder where he is. What we're making today, we're going to be looking at colours today more than making, to be perfectly honest. What I want to see if I can do is when Fred's over here, I want to see if I can nail down a load of different base colours ready for resin pours of different types. Yeah, I'm not really sure what we're going to get out of this session. I know we're going to get stuff out of it, yeah, but the thing that's going through my mind at the moment is the reason Fred's coming in is because he's got this breadth of knowledge, okay, and I don't know what that breadth of knowledge is, so I can't tell you what we're going to learn. I just know we're going to learn. Yeah, now as we speak, he is mixing up some paints, and he should be with us in the next 10 to 15 minutes. Yeah, oh cool, the palm tree tutorial. Calm down. I'm at work and watching you. Nice. By the way, just a nod, we aren't the richest of modders, and you're on the cheap builds greatly helped us. Thank you. No worries, Alan. No worries at all. Any chance of a few terrain labs in the near future? Yeah? Yes. Yes. Part of the reason Fred's coming up is to help me work out the colours for a terrain lab. Yeah? Mum and I once made a Stonehenge out of foam for a school project. We then took it outside to spray, left it to dry. It looked like the current state of the henge. Oh God, it happens. It happens to us all. Kim, I like what you. Oh, Kim's doing the Patreon and the PayPal thing. Yeah, I've decided to change how it. You know the latest supporters on the bottom. Every show I go on and I do ask you guys to jump on PayPal and help keep me in here and keep me going. But it sort of occurred to me with Patreon. The Patreon guys know what they're doing. They sort of donate per video, and they know that their donation basically helps make that video and the time and all that sort of stuff. But with you guys, it's a bit different. Yeah, because you just one-offs and the money comes here and you don't really see. So what I've decided to do is I've decided to actually say, right, okay, the PayPal donations I get during the show, I'm going to put towards kit, materials I need, bits of equipment. So we're going to start off, and our first one, yeah, is there's a USB cum audio jack mic that I'd like to get to improve my audio. It's about £50, so any donations tonight will be going towards that. And as soon as we've reached the sort of £50 mark, I can order it. So if you would like to help me out and you would like to hear me better on my videos, hear those wonderful yes in crystal clear quality, yeah, then you can jump on and you can support that little endeavour via PayPal. Yeah, the PayPal address is on the screen. You send a PayPal. We all go really excited. You get your name on the screen, and once I've got up to £50, I'll be able to order that mic. After the mic, I need another tripod. That's £30, so that will be the next one. So that's how I'm going to be doing the PayPals in future, rather than you just donating. Yeah, I want you to know where the money's going and you know what you're donating for. So right now, for the current minute, yeah, until we hit the £50 mark, we're donating towards improving the audio quality. Yeah, so that's down to you guys. I've got the phone here. We'll see if anyone makes any donations. Oh, we've had one already. Oh, Rudy sent a couple of nuggets. Right, we're down to 48. We need 48 for the watch. Rudy isn't even here. He messaged me to say he wasn't going to be able to make it. Yeah. Oh, hit a keyboard. It's all wireless. It's rather good. Yeah. So let's get Rudy on the screen, and we are down to 48 towards that. What you call it? Yeah. I just thought it was a better idea. We will absolutely. Yeah. No worries, Alan. No worries at all. Family first, mate. Train tutor second. Family first. Oh, Rick's coming with a nugget in a bit. So we're down to. I've got to do maths now. We're down to 46.50. Yeah, so let's get Rick on. Rick G. There we go. Nice. If we don't hit the amount that we need for whatever we're fundraising for by the time that we actually reach the end of the show, it'll just roll over to the next studio show or the next live show, and that's how I'm going to handle it, guys. Yeah, I think that's the fairest thing to do, or the most sensible thing to do. So, 46.50, we're getting there. Rick G, you're famous. He is famous. Cat saying, my brother and I have spent all morning cleaning out my dad's back shed, and he sees lots of trash. I see so many treasures. Oh, yes. Bottle of talcum powder would be better and cheaper. What's that about? John, hey, buddy? Mart, how do? So yeah, that's the battle plan with regards to donations. Yes, we have got terrain labs coming. That's what we're working on tonight, sorting out the colours for this upcoming terrain lab. I'm going to be working on Burma stuff over the next couple of days because I want to get my Burma mojo on. You've got bunker tutorials coming. We've got a product overview coming. It's good. Specifically since your show has saved us hundreds by making our own terrain. Yeah, well, that's what I'm here for. Yeah, you know Atom Smasher, a Wargames YouTuber, has a great mic setup. His videos are a joy to listen to. I just want to slowly progress and improve my videos, you know what I mean? I mean, we've been upping the lighting, yeah? The power of 1,000,000 candles. Almost blinded myself. Couldn't make any terrain for about 10 minutes because I had a white spot in front of my eyes. I've learned not to point it towards me when I switch it on. Right, so we're all good. That's all good. Yeah. So we're just waiting on Fred at the minute. So if you've got any questions while we're waiting on Fredicus, shoot them across. It's weird because I'm using that webcam, but the big TV's there and I'm reading the comments off that. I'll get used to it. We get used to these things. Right, I've got those to sort, haven't I? They're going to go there. So where are they going to go? We need somewhere to put them. We could put them in the display cabinet. Yeah, let's get them out of the way in the display cabinet. It's good to hear the Burma build is back. Yeah, I'm glad to have it back. I mean, I do like these pieces. You know what I mean? They are beautiful. I did a really good job on them. And so, yeah. Have you thought about using the wood pallets for the wood stove as terrain building? Not sure what you mean. Talc would be cheap. Are you lot having to go about the glare on my head? Really? Really? Is it that bad, the glare on my head? You git. It's not fair, you know. Right, let's put these away in here. Can I get them away, out of the way, so they don't get all dusty and Yankee. Yankee, Mankey. Right, let's drop that one in there. That's them out of the way for the time being. I've got my board for me and Fred to work on. Yeah. Wood pallets sometimes have nasty chemicals in them. Question, Mel. Whatever happened to the art project? It's ticking along, yeah. We want it to happen, but there's so much that we need to sort because it's reaching out to schools and that sort of stuff first. Yeah, that it's become a bit of a logistical nightmare. Yeah, so you know, with the commissions and everything, it got put on the side slightly, and now it's back on, and you know, slowly getting there. Jar Jar 34, thank you. Jam Jar 34, thank you, buddy. Oh, I've seen Rob Gilbert's routine about a million torches. Actually, I popped in, honestly thought that you were showing us a picture of a star going supernova when I realised, no, it was your forehead. Oh, you can calm down, young man. You can calm down. I'm not having that. Oh, we've had another PayPal. Well, €1 from Nick, and we've had 6 from Noah. I think we're down to about 39 quid. Yeah, right, let's get them on the screen. Right, I'm going to have to do the... Thank you, guys. It is appreciated. Right, so we've got Nick Z. We've got Nick Z. And we have... Yeah, Noah Z. Oh, the Zs are in. The NZs are in. Thank you, guys. Thanks for supporting the channel. It really does mean a lot to me. And it's also going to mean a lot to you guys soon because you're going to have like better audio. Here's a... Right, where is Fredicus? My wife disapproves of you getting a new microphone so she can hear your yes bear. So she can hear your yes bear. Does she really, Yuri? Young man, I'm older than you are. I'd take it as a compliment then, man. Question, will it be a Q&A, an interview, or just a chat with Fred? Well, Fred, it's going to be pretty much all three. Yeah, I'm not particularly interviewing him. Yeah, it's not particularly a Q&A session. So it is a chat, but he is going to be answering questions. Yeah. John, is this support something extra beyond Patreon? Yeah, John, this is for the people who don't really want to jump onto the Patreon monthly thing. They just want to give like a one-off, that sort of stuff, a couple of nuggets. Yeah. So how do I find you on PayPal? Dead easy, mate. If you look at the screen, right underneath this ugly mug, yeah, there's some writing. Yeah, and my PayPal email address, theterraintutor@gmail.com, is there. No, never mind. Found you. Easy to find, aren't they? Mel, in case you missed it, I did send one of that you could use for the mic. Right, okay. I think I've got it, dude. Can you take him in a fight? Take who? Fred? Yeah, I could take Fred in a fight. Don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you, Miko. They are. Kim's doing the PayPal thing. Thank you, Kim. Right, I've got my Burma stuff here. I need to sort this out. So while we're waiting for Fred to mix his paints, he mixes all his oils, all his own oil paints, all his oil, colours and stuff like that. And you know, if he's doing a brown, he'll mix like 13 different browns. Yeah, to sort of to graduate his colours. It's crazy. Right, so strip these down to 2 sheets because 1 sheet is not plenty. Yeah, we've got our corner pieces. I need to make some more of those. Yeah, we've got a heavy foliage those up. And then we've got all our little scatter pieces. And I've got to make a what you call it, a load more of these. The big Burma build is on the table. And I was also chatting with Kez. I've decided I'm probably going to do another map project. Yeah, a bit like the Fabled Realms one. Now calm down, don't panic. It's not going to be as big as that one. Yeah. But I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool to have like a map for Burma? A modular campaign map. Who is Fred? You'll meet Fred soon. Guess I'm covered then. No worries, John. If you're a patron, then you're covered. You're already supporting the channel, mate. You know, it's just the little extras. Hey, Joanne. Right, so there's my scatter pieces that I need to do. I've got me dense jungle pieces there, so I think over the weekend I'll work on these. It's pretty alright. See, I'm getting worried about him. Toxic Anton, hello bud. Cat saying, come on guys, hit the like button. Do as Cat says. Hit the like button. Yeah, so there are all my scatter pieces. I'm definitely going to need more than those, aren't I? That's not enough scatter. Nowhere near enough for what we want to do. I'm going to have to make some more. Yeah, frederickphillipsart.co.uk. Yeah, exactly, mate. Right, let me slide this somewhere. Where can this slide? I can go in there. I keep finding bunkers and stuff. As I'm trying to make room on my shelves, I keep finding more terrain. Gets everywhere. Yeah, and we'll put these up. These are going to be quite good. Yeah, got an idea with these. In fact, let me bring it close to show you. Yeah. Now, there's the jungle pieces, okay? But there's a lot of gaps through them. Yeah, so I'm going to block them up. And my battle plan, yeah, for the more denser terrain is I did a load of these donkeys ages ago. Yeah. And basically it's coconut fibre. Yeah, rubberized coconut fibre. I've sprayed brown. I'm going to take little bits of these, okay, basically, and I'm going to lay them in between the jungles to thicken them up. And then I'm going to lay foliage on top, and I'm hoping that's going to give me a look like the underbrush. You know what I mean? Where you get the foliage on the top and then you get all the stems and stuff coming up. And that's the battle plan. That's what I'm hoping I can pull off. The Fable board inspired me to make my own campaign board. Kevin, that's awesome. What are you doing? Hey, Mark. For the love of it, don't tell my wife, she'll kill me. I donated. Nice one, Alan. I'll check it in a second, mate. Just let me put these up here. Tell the wife. Get the wife on the stream, man. If anything, I've discovered, yeah, that my show is as much a show for couples as it is for individuals. Remember, couples who craft together stay together. Get the wife in, get her fingers messy, get your fingers messy, have some fun, and then make some terrain. Is that you, Fred? Yeah. Come on in then, mate. Oh, yeah. Fred! Yeah, let me move this up here, mate. Let me get this out of the way.
Everybody.
Right, this is Frederick Phillips. You already know his web address and that sort of stuff because we've already punted it on the screen. Oh, I've just shown him jungles. My Burma stuff. Oh, you've been messing with.
I thought I brought a few blues up to play with here to show you, the different kind of blue you can get.
Yeah, yeah.
And when you mix them with white, you'll see.
That sounds like a plan, mate. Right, let me put that there. Just trying to see if we can get. I'll weigh that down. Will it? Won't it? That should do it.
There you go. We've got a sequence of colours, different colours there.
Okay.
The first one is.
Just let me jump onto that, and I will come in and I'll bring this in so they can see what we're talking about. Right. So this is what Fred's brought in for us.
Okay, this is just samples of basic colours. They're the basic blues that most people use.
Right, these are oil paints, aren't they? To be clear,
these are oil paints, yeah. But I brought the most kind of what could you say, the least exotic, if you like.
All right then, okay.
The most commonly used ones. Now, the first one is cerulean blue. That's a sky blue.
Right.
And that's like a slightly warmish blue.
Yeah.
When you add a bit of white to that, you can see what happens with that. It's quite a perfect sky blue. This, by the way, is manganese blue.
Manganese blue.
Yeah, this is manganese blue. Some people call it mineral blue.
Right.
This is a nice colour actually to use for skies as well. So both of these colours. I'm mentioning skies because obviously I know we're talking about sea today, but the colour of the sea often reflects the colour of the sky.
Right.
So you start off with what the colour of the sky is, or what the colour cast is of the sky, as you could say.
What do you mean by colour cast, mate?
Well, the colour cast is the colour of the light.
Okay.
Like later in the day it gets pink, when the sun sets.
All right.
Earlier in the day is kind of bluish in the early morning, and then in the middle of the day it's kind of slightly warm, and then it gets warmer and warmer as the day goes on. It's called the colour cast of the light.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So will that affect the look of water as well then?
Very much so, on the sky as well, yeah.
Oh bugger, we've got to pick a time period for our for our skies, for our water.
Yeah, time of day, yeah, makes a difference, definitely does.
Alan, oils won't affect foams either, but I wouldn't recommend using oils for terrain. It'll take too long to dry, mate, and cost you too much.
Slow drying, yeah.
Very slow drying.
Yeah.
Yes, Jam Jar, you can do it with acrylic. We're just looking at the colours right now.
Yeah, this is just a bit of a demo. By the way, these colours are all available in acrylic.
Yeah.
Cerulean blue, the first one. The next one is ultramarine blue.
Yeah.
That's the one there, ultramarina from Italy. As you put white into it, and you see how warm that is in comparison with the other one. It's a cool blue.
Yeah.
It's a warm blue. Look what a difference that is in those two. So cool day, warm day, basically.
Right.
This is phthalo-cyanine blue. This is a brand new colour. It's only been around for a few years.
Right.
It goes by different names depending on the company that's making it. But that again is a greenish blue.
Right. Okay.
A bit like the manganese, only deeper.
Yeah.
And very last one is Prussian blue, invented in Berlin in the early 1700s, and it's the Prussian uniform colour.
Right. Okay.
Very, very dark blue. And when you put white in that, again, it's kind of greenish. Now, to make up a colour of the sea, let's say North Atlantic, Northern Hemisphere, North Atlantic, it's going to be greyish.
Yeah.
I mean, on a blue day it'll be blue, but quite often you get greyish skies in the north. So then you have to do something called breaking your colour. So it's not going to be pure blue, it's going to be a pure blue that's broken with another colour.
Right, so
to make it
when you mix another colour in, it's called breaking the colour, is it?
Breaking the colour, yeah, so it's less pure.
Right.
So it's kind of like in between, being pure and whatever. So let's say Northern Hemisphere, Atlantic Ocean, I would start off with one of these greenish blues like this,
right,
and probably add a bit of green and brown.
Whoa, Fred, you're adding brown to blue, mate. What the hell?
Yeah, well, that's called breaking the colour because it's an opposite. To break the colour, you often use the opposite on the colour wheel. The colour wheel.
Yeah.
Green, red, yellow, orange, blue, like that. Well, blue is opposite brownish red.
Right.
So if you put a bit of brownish red in that, you instantly start getting like a sea.
Holy shit!
A little light in it maybe. You're going to get like a sea colour.
Yeah, let me show you this, guys. Look at that.
Yeah, starts off with a Prussian blue, a little bit of brown, touch of green, but not very much. And you've got like a kind of greyish, a bit more brown perhaps, a greyish North Atlantic kind of sea colour there.
That's beautiful.
With the ultramarine, obviously, let's say, for instance, if you're doing like Pacific.
Yeah.
Well, the colour there obviously is going to be a warm colour, Southern Hemisphere. But you've got another thing happening as well, which is with the Pacific, particularly in the atolls, where it's only shallow, it picks up the colour from what's underneath on the bed.
Right.
So that's when you go into your turquoise. And turquoise is the colour you probably want to choose for Pacific.
Right.
Especially close to the coast. Where it begins to pick up the coral and everything from.
So let's now, in our situation, typically we're not just painting the sea. What we'd be doing is laying down a base colour, and then we'd be putting a resin pour in with a little tint to it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, so let's say Pacific, and we're messing around with turquoise. How would you lighten it and darken it and change the variation to create an idea of depth?
Well, you can always use black.
Yeah.
I didn't bring any black up actually, but black is a good color. It's a neutral color. Well, it's not a color at all. Actually, it's black. It's just black.
Well, no, what do you mean it's not a colour?
Well, black and white aren't colors. Everything else is a color, but black and white are neutral.
Okay.
So you can add white or you can add black, and they pretty much either lighten or darken the color without really changing it very much.
Right, so it's about literally the highlight and what when you're mixing black in, but you're not actually changing the colour itself.
That's right. Changing the tone of it. How light or how dark it is called the tone of it, or the shade of it.
1 second, mate. Yeah, so friggin' interesting, Fred. Sick colour, that's friggin' awesome to see. New world of colour composing is opening up. Yeah.
I'll go on test what it means well. So, I mean, with the Pacific, obviously, that's the lighter end where the water is shallower and picking up the stuff from underneath. So you need a greener blue for the darker.
Right, so we go in with the turquoise and then we go in with a greener blue. Yeah, but a darker greener blue to do the darkening.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. So you can get like a gradation from very dark to very pale. Like that. So it goes from darker to lighter.
I'm just trying to get, that's beautiful. It's not quite catching the green in it, to be perfectly honest. Yeah.
Right, yeah,
it is just the white balance on this.
Must be the color cast of the light as well, probably the fluorescent light, yeah. So it was neutralizing it a bit, because you always have to remember the color of the light, you know, because the color of the light informs the color of everything. I mean, even if let's say you got a jet black object, you know, like I don't know, a cast iron black lamppost or something. On a warm day, if you're going to paint that and you want to make it look like a lamppost on a warm day, you'd use black and put a little bit of red or brown in it to make the black a warmer black.
Right.
Because don't forget the blacks and whites are neutral.
Yeah.
So and to make the black like look cooler, you'd put blue or grey in it to make it look cooler. So instead of using pure black, you'd use the black how it appears under a certain colour condition of the light. You know, the light cast. So on a warm day, add a bit of red or add a bit of brown. On a cold day, add a bit of blue or a bit of green.
If you were, just to take this completely off, applying that to miniatures, if you had like a red miniature, you know, you were red armour, that sort of stuff, you were adding black trim on, would you say adding a little bit of red into that black to sort of bring it in line with the reds would work really well? Just out of interest, from a miniature point?
It would certainly look like it's more of a kind of like a common object. If you
it would sort of, it'd be, what is it, homogeneous?
Homogeneous.
Homogeneous.
Yeah,
so
like the lights hitting it, you know, the same kind of coloured lights hitting the whole thing.
So there you are, figure painters. Next time you're doing black, a little bit of red or a little bit of blue, depending on whether you want it to be a warm black or a cold black. I love this.
It does make quite a difference, actually. It's subtle, but when you start.
How much of a tint are we talking about? What sort of ratios? Are we talking like literally just a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, usually, yeah, because black's quite a strong colour, so you can put quite a lot of colour in it before it really starts to change it. But obviously, if you put too much red or brown in, then it will start to get too light to be black, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because nothing's as dark as black. Black's the deepest colour.
Yeah.
And all the others are going to be slightly less deep than that.
Okay.
With the exception of Prussian blue, actually, oddly enough, which is, where is it? That one.
Yeah.
Which is actually blacker than black. When it's pure. Like,
really?
Yeah, that Prussian blue, yeah.
So Prussian blue is blacker than black?
It is, yeah. Strangely enough, I'm not sure why that is, but yeah, it is. Yeah.
What I'm going to do very quickly, guys, is... Oh, I just need to get the comments back on the screen. Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick photo of what we've got here, and I'll post it on the Terrainiacs group. Can one of you guys stick a link into the Terrainiacs? In fact, it's in the description under the video, but I want you to see this. Yeah, so photos. Let's get a photo of this, because I think once you actually see the colours, it'll make a lot more sense.
Yeah, it's coming out well on there.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So let's post that to the Terrainiacs group. I've got to find the Terrainiacs group now. Oh, I've had PayPal's in. Choose Terrainiacs. Photos. That one. Next. For those on the live show. Right, so if you check the terrainiacs group now, guys, yeah, a decent photo of these colours is on there, and you'll see what we're talking about with the turquoise. You'll see the Prussian blues and all that sort of stuff. On the should be live any second. Yeah, that's live in the terrainiacs group right now. So if you want to check that out and see the actual colours up close, I mean, that camera's slightly better, but it's not as good as the photo we're working on. Yeah. Thank you, Kim. Yeah, of course, I guess you can use this. Yeah, Jam Jar, you can use this. It's colour theory. Yeah, this is, I know we're talking about blues and we're talking about oceans, but one of the reasons I like talking about Fred is he understands colour. You know, the warmth, the cold, the mixing, all that sort of stuff. And it's golden stuff for us. Yeah. Thank you both. That's cool information. Yeah, it's up. Great idea for a show, Mal. Thanks a bunch, and big thanks to Frank for sharing. You're Frank now, dude. He's Fred. Yeah, people are saying it's a better pick. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
So, yeah, we need to get back onto this. So we've got the idea that you can go for, if we're going for a warmer environment with regards to water, then we need to be looking at adding turquoise and making it slightly greener.
Well, Pacific specifically, actually, to be specific.
Yeah, go on.
I'm qualified, you know.
You used to teach at university.
Qualified. Yeah, turquoise, that's pretty much unique, actually. I'd say to either the Pacific or the Mediterranean, really.
Yeah.
It depends where in the Mediterranean, I suppose. But, you know, yeah, more kind of warmer climes, and especially where there's coral or there's shallows.
Right.
Because that's when you get this sort of like weird kind of turquoise.
Right, so the turquoise is more a shallow colour.
Yes, and kind of coral atolls and that kind of, you know,
right.
Pacific,
so the reef areas and that sort.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we want to be looking at turquoise for our shallow areas. So if you've got deep water in the Pacific, would that still be like the Atlantic, or is it still slightly different?
Deep water in the Pacific, well, of course, it always depends on the colour of the light of the day and the colour of the
warmth,
sky and everything. But generally, you use like a warm blue. So you could use either that one or this one. Really, that's kind of like a medium blue. This is like a reddish blue.
Yeah.
Let's just have a look and see what happens. If you imagine this is the shallows and this is the horizon going away from you, that looks all right.
Yeah, that does look bloody good.
So that's a transition from like the deeper water to the shallower.
So for tropical areas and warm water, we want to be looking at turquoise for the shallow, and then we want to be mixing in a warm blue.
Warmer blue.
Yeah. Okay.
And the warmer blue and the cool, because obviously the turquoise is a greener blue or a, you know, a cooler blue, but that's caused by the
fact that turquoise actually a blue?
Yes, it is. Yeah, turquoise blue.
It's not a green then.
No. Policemen have a lot of trouble with this when people say, you know, when they witness an accident, they say the car was blue, and somebody else says no, it was a turquoise, and somebody else says it was green.
Right.
But actually, turquoise is turquoise blue. You can get a turquoise green, but it's not this colour. It's a lot more like that. Really.
Right. Yeah. So just to wrap this a little bit up, we've got warmer environments. We're looking at turquoise. Okay. We're looking at a warm blue to darken that up for depth. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
How do we identify the difference between a cold blue and a warm blue, looking at the colour?
Well, it's easier when you put white in it. Obviously, when it's dark, it's a bit difficult to tell. But when you put white in it, you can easily see that the warmer colour, the greener end of the spectrum is. Well, actually, that one is actually fairly neutral. It's somewhere halfway in between. But the Prussian blue, this one is definitely a greener blue. As you can see, I only put a bit of brown in that, more or less, in it. But if we just put a bit of white in that, you'll see that's quite a greenish colour.
Yeah.
It's a little bit greyer than the.
So if we were to get like a couple of paints, there's got to be a couple of. I've got to have some paints in here, haven't I? Yeah. So let's throw some blues out. Yeah, because this is what I'm going to need. We're not fine artists, so we have. Yeah, all army painter, electric blue, ultramarine blue, and crystal blue. Now, that looks a little greeny to me. So is that a warm one?
That looks to me like, yeah. Let's have a look.
Expect a massive acrylic, what you call it.
Oh, and that's quite interesting. Now that's come out like pretty much like the cyanide blue.
Yeah.
That's like a mid blue. It's kind of not warm, it's not cool. It's sort of like it's slightly on the cool side, but not as much as the turquoise or the
right. So crystal blue, yeah, is sort of a neutral one.
Yeah, it's kind of in the middle between green and red.
We've got an electric blue and an ultramarines blue here.
Yeah, now the ultramarine is going to be like this one.
Yeah.
Which is like a reddish blue, purplish blue.
Which is the warm one, isn't it?
It's definitely very warm. Yes. Yeah. Going on to violet almost. Yeah. So warm.
So this is the sort of blue we'd want to use with our turquoise for our warm environments for darkening it up.
Yes, because the ultramarine and the turquoise added together, you can see it makes it a really nice kind of like Pacific blue, basically.
Yeah, it really does. It really does.
Yeah, and also Mediterranean, I would say, too.
I will catch up in the comments in the section, and we'll have a question section in. What we'll do is we'll just talk about warm water first, then we'll talk about cold water, and then are you okay to talk about inland water?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, and then we'll nail down a few of the colours for each. Yeah, right. So.
Then don't let me touch anything. I'll make it blue.
Oh, don't worry about it, man. There's a cloth there if you want it.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So Pacific. We start off with turquoise for the shallows. Yeah, and then we mix in ultramarine blue for the depth. And I'm assuming if you want real extra depth, we can add a little bit of black in because it's a neutral.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, you can always use black to deepen any colour.
Yeah, so
everything.
Would you go with black with ultramarine, or would you go, sorry, black with turquoise, or would you go turquoise, ultramarine, and then start adding the black, do you think?
Yes, that's how I would do that. Yeah, because the black being a neutral will only deepen the turquoise. It won't warm it and blue it.
Right, okay, so you won't get that warmth from the actual ultramarine blue.
Right, generally speaking, the deeper the water is, physically, the deeper the water is, the deeper the colour blue. Well, the deeper the colour is anyway, whether it's blue or grey or whatever.
Right, okay.
It's usually deeper than the shallows. So because the shallows reflect up, through the water. The light goes through the water and reflects back up the sand and the coral and whatever it is that's underneath. Forming the bed, the seabed. So yeah, lighter and paler and greener usually towards the shallows. Obviously in the Mediterranean, in the North Atlantic, if you've got shallows in the North Atlantic, you won't get that turquoise effect.
Yeah. So that's our tropics.
Yeah. So or Mediterranean. Yeah.
Just to nail down, so your base colours for your tropics, you're going to start off with a turquoise. Okay, you're then going to look at an ultramarine blue, and what I mean is not the label ultramarine blue, but the actual colour ultramarine blue. Okay, remember gaming companies mess around with their names and that sort of stuff. But ultramarine blue is our darkener, and then to darken it further, that's when we add in the black stage. Right, we've got our tropical colours nailed down. This is really important because I'm going to be putting these colours on here.
Oh, wow.
I'm putting a resin tint over it. Right. So we can actually see where it ends up like.
Well, that should be interesting.
Yeah, well, that's the plan. That's why I wanted to nail down the colours. So we've got the Pacific done, our warm environment. Yeah, before we move on, let's take a couple of minutes. It'll take a couple of minutes because of the lag for their questions to come through to us.
Okay.
Yeah, so guys, if you've got any questions, prefix it with the word question in capitals so we can see clearly it's a question, and ask any questions, but we want to keep these specific to warm Pacific, before we move on to the next one. We'll get this one nailed down and then we'll move on. Yeah, so can I thin oils and turpentine and shoot them through with an airbrush? Yes, Rick, you can.
Yes,
yeah, there's no problems with that, except the Silverlight Ultramarines Blue is the name, not the name of the colour. So yeah, big point out from Alan there that don't trust gaming colours to name their colours properly. Yeah, they just don't. Tamsin, absolute solid colour blending info nonetheless. Yeah, 20, I don't know, 5,000 watching live for once. What are we up to? Different sea colours. Yeah, we're working out sea colours with Fred tonight. Red is my bogey colour, especially highlighting it without making it pink. How do you watch colour? This is actually quite a common thing with wargaming. Whenever we try and lighten our reds, we try and mix white in with it and it goes pink.
Right.
Yeah, so how do we lighten reds but not go pink? What else can you mix with it?
Like you could mix a yellow, That way you get like a lighter tonality red, but then obviously it's going to go towards orange, or the
Right.
vermilion and orange. So the way to obviate that from happening is to use like a neutral yellow, like a deep earth yellow, like a yellow ochre.
Right. So ochre.
A little bit of yellow ochre, yeah, which is like a greenish yellow.
Yeah.
In with the red, should lighten it without making it too orange. I'll make it a bit orange, but it'll lighten it without making it pink.
Right, so if you want to avoid pink when you're highlighting your red, yeah, you want to mix in that, yeah. For us wargamers, Tauset ochre, yeah, ochre. All right.
Yeah.
There's an alien race called Tau, and they're this colour.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So the gaming companies call it Tauset ochre.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, most yellow ochre comes from Tuscany. Comes from northern Italy.
Right.
So if you're doing a terrain build for northern Italy, Monte Cassino, that kind of place, yellow ochre is your colour for the soil.
Well, action players, are you listening? I knew this was going to be a good idea. I just knew this was going to. Well, you wait till we get him on and we get him talking about bush colours and flowers and stuff like that. Right, let's have a look. Use a sand colour. Can we do the same with deep green? We see with rivers such as green to clear or brownish green. We're moving on to inland in a minute, so we'll talk about that in a minute. Kim's asking, Fred, am I right in saying that black is the absence of colour whilst white is every colour through the spectrum?
That's true concerning light.
Right, okay.
Which of course light is the purest form of colour. When you talk about paints, pigments, they're a step down from light.
Okay.
So they're not as pure as coloured light. You know, like stained glass and that
right,
kind of
okay,
thing,
yeah.
it's pure colour. So no, that wouldn't work. Not with pigments. It would work with light, but not with pigments.
Right. Crawley?
Because they're less pure.
You could also use a light off grey to highlight red. Do you reckon?
Yes, as long as it wasn't too bluish a grey, because you could end up getting a kind of like a violet colour then. So
right.
A bit colour,
so you'd have to go for a warm grey then, with it being a red.
It'd have to be like a warm as opposed to a cool grey, and yeah, actually that would probably work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Worth trying anyway. Worth trying.
Galea's sunny skin tone is great for mixing with reds to highlight them. Nice one to know. What colour is it? Yeah, can you explain to me what you're doing tonight? I'm like, we're just talking colours, mate. Yeah, now, very quickly, while a few more questions come in, I've got a few PayPals I've got to shout out for. Yeah, this is show admin. Yeah, so we were on 36. We raised funds for what you call it. Yeah, in fact, tonight, guys, yeah, we're raising funds and we're splitting it. Okay, so whatever I raise tonight in tonight's show, yeah, half will go towards that mic and hopefully the tripod. Yeah, the other half is going towards his beer fund. Yeah, because I think he deserves it. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know this is slightly different to what I said at the start, but I mean, we're learning so much. You know, the guy's you got to treat the guy. You know what I mean? It's not fair for me to ask you guys to give me money while he's giving us awesome information.
It's my pleasure, Val.
Even so, yeah. Right now, don't do it. Don't dismiss it or anything like that. We're doing okay. We've got a couple of pints. Well, I'm halfway towards the microphone, and you've got a couple of pints. So, right, let's get some names on the screen. Yeah. So, latest donators are. Yeah. Now we were on. Right, we'd raised £14 so far this show. Yeah, because we were trying to raise 50. We got down to 36. So. Yeah, we have another £5 from Chris. Yeah, Chris what? Oh, what have I done? I've broken it. Here we go. So, Chris C. Yeah, so we've had another £5 from Chris C. So we'll get Chris on the screen. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, on top of that, we've had... Yeah, 150 from Yurizan. Thank you, buddy. And Alan, yeah, he's thrown 22.50 in. Yeah, so I don't even know what we're on at the minute. We started off with what, 14, 16, did I say? About 15?
Yes.
Plus about
14, yeah.
Plus about we're on about 20, we're on about 40, just over 40, 43.
You're getting there.
We're getting there. Well, we're getting there, mate. I'm 20 quid towards mine. You're 20 quid towards your beer fund. Yeah, I've got to thank the guy for sharing us this information because we're just learning so much. Yeah, so for tonight only, if you would like to make a donation towards Fred and just specifically Fred, yeah, you're welcome to do that as well. Yeah, I'll have to check the comments to make sure that, you know, I don't mistake what was for Fred as a what you call it, as a mix. Just let me very quickly do that. That one. Yeah. Thanks for the great tutorials. Keep the yeahs going and annoy my wife. No worries, Yuri. Right. So we'll refresh that. We'll get those names on the screen. Thank you, guys. Thanks for supporting the show. Right. Beer and sounds fun combo. It does. It certainly does. Yeah. Fred from frederickphillipsart.co.uk is taking us through colour theory and practice. He is. I'm going to make a battle board covered with a shallow sea water. Not sure how to paint the sand showing through in some places and not to make it too green.
Right, yes.
So, okay, we've got our turquoise.
Yeah.
How would you, because I mean, you do get that situation where you can see the sand coming up and then you get the sand peeking above the resin.
Yes.
How would you blend the sand into that turquoise, mate?
Well, I'd probably avoid the turquoise actually, because that's more for coral and kind of pebbly, kind of under, under the water. So you'd probably be better with the yellow ochre, going back to the yellow ochre for the sand,
right?
And using that as perhaps with a touch of brown in it, because wet sand gets deeper.
Yeah.
So dry sand is probably going to be a pale yellow ochre. Wet sand's going to be like a deep yellow ochre with some brown in it.
Right.
When you get that deep yellow ochre with a bit of brown in, and add that to, sorry, which part of the hemisphere would it be?
It could be a fantasy land, so let's just go with it's warm.
So kind of like a neutral, yeah. So let's say we use this blue, that's called phthalocyanine blue.
Yeah.
That's made in acrylic paint. It's made in every paint. It's a modern colour. It's not an old traditional one. It's a modern one. It's a very nice colour, and it's actually replaced Prussian blue. But if you use that as a basic blue for northern hemisphere and add a little bit of yellow ochre for the sand with a bit of brown in it, then those two colours will sit next to each other really nicely. I unfortunately didn't bring any with me, otherwise I'd do it, because that will then look like the sand coming up through the water, wet sand,
Right.
But you do need to put a bit of brown in to make it look
to
like
wetten it, to darken it.
Darker,
So a little bit of brown in with your ochre, to make the sand as it's under the water. And obviously, once you're above where you're going to pour the resin, then I'd suggest going a lot lighter, dry brush it up and highlight it up. Perhaps even taking it a touch of cream for the final highlight with baked sand works really well from a dry point of view. From what I learned on my D-Day board, anyway.
Yes, cream is also a good colour to use because it's a bit like white. It's fairly neutral, but it's just got a slightly warm tint to it. So, it's very useful, yeah.
Right. Yeah, we've had another PayPal. I'll shout that out in a minute because otherwise we're going to be just keep doing this. Yeah. So we've nailed down tropics. We've got our idea of our turquoise. We know that we need a warm blue to mix in with it, and then if we want to take it darker, we mix in a black. Right. Now I know right now that a mate of mine over in the States, Mike from Terrainiacs, will be furiously scribbling this information down. I was hanging with Mike last night, and I was telling him about Fred, and he was like very keen to jump on and watch this.
Oh, great.
So whether he watches it or watches it after, I know he's going to be watching this one. So hi, Mike. Yeah. So let's move into the colder environments then, because we've done warm oceans.
Right. Yeah.
Let's tackle like Atlantic, the Channel. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah. Well, once you got to the North Atlantic, then it's definitely going to be something cooler. Excuse me. Do you want to drink? Something cooler. You've got a bit of water, actually.
I've got some Ribena here, mate.
Yeah, that'll be lovely.
There you go.
So you need to use one of the cooler blues, which is going to be either the Prussian blue, which is I'll put a bit of white in there, which is that one, added to green and brown to get the highlights and all the shallows. It kind of depends on the light, really, but that would work for either highlights or shadows.
Yeah.
Or the medium blue, which is this phthalocyanine blue, which again, a little bit of brown in that.
Yeah.
A bit of white, perhaps. and you get something quite similar to the Prussian blue, as you can see. They're
Yeah.
quite similar, those two colours, but that's more commonly available. The phthalo-cyanine blue, it's more commonly available than the Prussian blue, which is a
So,
bit old-fashioned now.
I mean, so you're talking sort of the standard sort of blue, and what you're doing is mixing in a little bit of brown to get the green, sort of the dark green depth. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Once you add white to that, and then brown as well, and you begin to get this lovely sense of bluish grey, which you
Yeah.
get in the North Atlantic. You know,
Yeah.
so some of the
That's the colour I wanted for my, what you call it?
when the waves roll over, you know, they show a kind of like a greenish undertone,
Yeah.
like that kind of undertone, and the highlights of that colour too. And then obviously underneath, the deeper parts are going to be this almost black Prussian blue.
So
You know, for
you
depth.
would, so for the lighter areas, you would actually mix the brown in to get the greenish more colours, and you would go more to the more purer blues for the depth. Is that right?
Say that again slowly.
Okay, right. So this is our lighter area, a bit
Sure.
like this is
Yeah.
our shallow area, and then we would
Yeah.
move into the darker blues,
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
for the depth. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. I would never use like a pure blue for sea because it's, or rarely anyway, because it's rarely a pure blue. It's almost always, the colour's almost broken, always broken by something else, usually because of the colour of the light
Yeah.
affecting the water, and it very much affects sky and water, the two things most seriously affected by the colour of the light. So you really have to factor the colour of the light in, whether it's the morning, the evening, midday, whether it's the southern hemisphere, the northern hemisphere. Obviously, the northern hemisphere will be cooler, silvery light. The southern hemisphere will be warmer, more golden light,
Yeah.
even in the middle of the day, you know.
So just to chip in, obviously, you know, because War Games terrain isn't based on what time of day you're playing. Yeah.
Right.
The idea of cooler in the morning, warmer in the evening from the light source that we discussed earlier doesn't really apply to us. But I do think it's important that if you're building a terrain set and you really want to go to town on the colours, to pick a time, yeah, for that terrain set. Is it a terrain set in the morning or a terrain set in the evening? And then you know whether all your colours are going to be mixing with a little bit of warm, or all your colours are going to be mixing with a little bit of cold, depending on, you know, basically tying it all together. You know what I mean? Right. So, yes, so basically we're looking at what we would consider a standard blue, yeah, mixed with a little bit of brown and a little bit of white to get our greeny grey colour.
Yeah, that comes out, as you can see, like a nice
for the shallows.
Yeah.
And then we just simply step up into the darker blue for the depth. And then am I right in saying you could probably mix a little bit of black in to take it to extra deep?
Well, for the North Atlantic, I'd stay again, putting it, even though it's a bluey, it's a greenish blue. Then if you put green into that, the dark green into that greenish blue, then it brings out the greenish blue even, you know, makes the blue even a greener, deeper kind of colour like that.
Right. Whoa. So you mix brown in to make it lighter.
Yeah.
And you mix dark green in to make it darker.
Yes, because the dark green's a really dark colour. Yeah. the brown's a lighter tone. So when you put the brown in, it makes it paler. And I put a bit of white in, don't forget, as well,
of
so
course.
It's brown and white. But with this, I just put dark green into the phthalo-cyanine blue to get that very, very deep. And the dark green is a hooker's green, or it goes by various names, but any dark green would do. You get this lovely kind of like deep greyish kind of colour. Perhaps put a bit of white in that, perhaps a bit too deep.
Right, guys, if you want to see these colours, I'm going to take a quick photo. I'm going to post it in the comments of that first photo in the Terrainiacs group. So if you go look at the first photo, you have a look at the comments, you'll get the next update, okay? And you can have a proper look at these colours. Yeah, so, yeah, that is just crazy.
It's catching the light a bit. Let me
Go on.
with it.
We try.
A bit now.
Yeah. There we go.
That's it, because it's the oil paint's shiny.
That's better.
Yeah.
Exposure's matched.
Yeah. So that way you get, actually I've got that a little bit too green, but you just have to keep on adding the blue, brown and green together. Basically, blue, brown make grey.
Right.
Blue, brown and green make a kind of like an aquamarine grey.
Right.
which is like a North Atlantic bluish grey. And so brown, green and a greenish blue is basically the way with a little bit of white. Again, like you say, in the shallows, it's going to get paler because of the sand or whatever it is underneath showing through. In the deeper areas, it's going to get deeper. And if you want it really deep, then add black.
Yeah, so for real depth, go for the black. But what we're talking about is, it's for sort of cold water, Atlantics, that sort of stuff, we're looking at what we consider a standard blue. We mix in a little bit of brown and white to make it lighter. And we mix in dark green to make it darker. And if we want it darker still, then we step to black.
That's right. Yes. Keeping the blue as the basic colour. The blue should predominate, and the other colour should just be an add. You know what I mean?
I've learned more about ocean colours in the past sort of like half hour or whatever. Man, this is golden, dude. I knew this was well worth it.
Oh, thank you.
No, genuinely, this is really good. All these guys. Question: what colours would you use for? All right, we'll get to inlands in the next. Right. Any questions on cold sea water? So we're talking Atlantic water. We've gone through the main colours and how to do it. If you've got any questions, we'll wrap that one. And the next one we'll talk about is, we'll have a natter about what you call it, sort of inland and swamps and that sort of stuff, and colours with that. It'd be cool.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Question. Okay, we've done that one. We'll answer that in a little while, Kim. Question. If you mix black with red to get a warm tone, and green or blue to get a cold tone, what does it count as if you mix it with a purple or a violet?
What does it count as?
Is it warm or cold, or is it neutral? What does mix
black with
purple or violet?
Yeah, that will warm it. Yes, that would make the black look like black looks on a warm day. Let's say a black painted cast iron lamppost in, I don't know, Puerto Rico. Well, if you added black and a little bit of purple into the black, you get that warm sunshine sense. But it'd still be black.
The reference from Puerto Rico is because you live there, on it?
For a while, yes.
Yeah. Whenever he throws these little references up, a bit like such and such, it's because he's lived there and he was a painter there.
All the cast iron work in Puerto Rico is black, so
like I mean, not like we'd know what a Puerto Rican lamppost. I mean, one of you guys may be in Puerto Rico and know what the lampost's like. Well, love that stuff. What do you use for grass on a bat or game area? Flock, mate, but that's not the topic of today, so that's not one for what you call it. It still makes sense to use this info for multiple sets. Some mornings, some evenings, some high noons. That'd be interesting. Time terrain. Yeah. Right, I did see we've had a few more donations, Fredicus.
Oh.
Yeah, so we've got to get those guys on the screen. Thank you, guys. These PayPals, they are helping me, and it is paying Fred for sharing this knowledge. You know what I mean? Oh, 10, 10, 10. That's 15 each.
Wow.
Yeah. So, Tamsin, Holger, and Steve B. Right, let's get you guys on the screen. Yeah, so. And then what we'll do is, any more questions? Yeah, get them up now on Atlantic seas. Yeah, open seas. And we'll move and we'll start talking about rivers and stuff like that next. Yeah, so. Steve B, thank you, buddy. We've got Tamsin, thank you, Tamsin. And we've got Holger Fat. I can't read your last name, dude. I need to check these to make sure these aren't just for you. Right, so very quickly. Come on. From Falco, a filthy Hun. I love these guys. Fred's Beer Fund, tenner for you, so you get an extra £5.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. It's all right, Tamsin's also a supporter of mine anyway, so don't worry about that. Yeah, and Steve Batty's saying he's enjoying the show. Glad you're enjoying it, guys. Genuinely, thanks for supporting us. Yeah. Just let me put a space in there. That should do it. Thank you, guys. And as always, if you are appreciating this or you would like to help me out with the microphone, PayPal address is on there. Just send it, send a couple of quid in. Makes us both smile. Well, they were giving me grief earlier because of the shine on the top of my head. I mean, between the two of us, I mean, they'll be blinded today.
Well, We've got stereo shine today.
Okay, right. Thanks for the pics. No worries, Steve. Change of plans. Just managed to view. Question: How would you do? How would you show wake from the like? Oh yeah. So okay,
Oh, that's
waves and the
interesting.
top of waves.
Yeah,
Now you
yeah,
you told me that when I was doing the snow on the on the Fable Realms map,
yes.
that I should mix in a little bit of blue,
Warm blue. Yeah,
yeah, to reflect
yeah,
the light.
yes,
Now we often look at waves and the froth on the top of waves as pure white.
yes.
Is
Yeah.
that right, or are we wrong?
Depends on the light.
Depends on the light. Okay,
Yeah,
assuming neutral.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. It would be like a paler version of the actual colour of the sea itself. So,
So would you perhaps get your base coat and slightly tint it slightly?
yes, yes. For a wake, for ripples of waves and anything like that, then because it's imagine it's like 3D. You know, if the water is flat, a ripple is 3D.
Yeah.
It rises
Yeah,
and
it's a
it
shape.
falls. So it's a shape, yeah. So that's going to catch the light, whatever color the light is, it will catch the light because it will highlight. You know, because it's catching higher than everything else, it will catch the light. So usually just add white to the base color that you've got, and it should work. Perhaps a bit of brown, I don't know, but it would depend on, let's say, North Atlantic here.
Huh?
Imagine if we're doing a wake of a boat. Say that's
Yeah.
the boat,
Yeah.
just white, really.
So just
Creates
literally
that sense.
lighting it up
Yeah,
with.
yeah. An alternative would be to use your end of your brush, do that.
Not in our terrain, though, because we'd be working on 3D elements.
Right, yeah,
Yeah, but I see what you're saying. But to get the highlight through.
yes, yes. You can cut through to if you've got a white base. Obviously, you need a white base to do that. Then you can just use the edge of the brush like that
Right.
to get like a wake actually, and that works quite well. But if you haven't got a white base like what we have here, then you would have to use a little bit of white paint.
So basically,
Yeah.
for all that sort of froth and that sort of stuff, yeah, you want to be using a tiny bit of your base color just to sort of color match it, yeah, just enough to sort of take it off the pure white, yeah,
Mm.
and then color match it to the sort of the base colors we're working with.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you, Kim. So, so the whiteheads of the water aren't white, but more a muted base color.
That does depend actually. I mean, on a really choppy day, when the water is like you got kind of heavy waves
Yeah.
and quite a heavy tide, then it could be white actually. On a clear day in the middle of the day
Yeah.
with like it's not sunset or it's not dawn
Yeah,
or
so that
anything like
we're not
that.
looking at warm or cold light.
Yeah, obviously in dawn or at sunset it's going to be pinkish or
Yeah.
perforation. It's going to get a bit more complicated. But during the middle of the day, pure white actually would be a good way to go. There's different whites actually. There's warm whites and cool whites.
No, Fred, don't be doing this to
Yeah,
me. White is white. No,
but,
no.
but obviously a slightly warmer white is probably a good idea. Like
Right, no, listen, you can't drop that on us lot without just saying it's like we have all, yeah, just worked on the basic principle, but there's white. Don't be. What's this warm and cold white? How do you buy warm and cold white? How do you make it?
well, titanium white is actually a slightly warm white.
Right.
A bit like when I'm painting on here. This is like titanium white. As you can see, it's kind of more like cream. Really, it's not pure white. That's pure white on there.
Right. Yeah.
Got green in it. That's pure white on there, and as you can see, it's whiter.
Yeah.
It's whiter than that. That's because this is titanium, and titanium is a slightly warmish colour. Titanium comes out of riverbeds, actually, funnily enough.
Right.
It's a mineral. Zinc white, which is what I use in my oil paint as white, is zinc and titanium mixed together. Zinc and titanium mixed together, you get a neutral white because it's a cool white and warm white mixed together.
Right, so zinc white is a cool white.
Yeah, zinc white is like the colour of a swan. It's cold and pure white.
Okay.
Whereas titanium white is more like the colour of bread, which is like white but slightly warmish kind of colour, Yeah.
Alan takes massive amounts of notes. Send us a copy. Yeah.
But a neutral white is a zinc and titanium mix, 50-50 is a neutral white, and that's a mixture warm and cool.
Right.
Zinc on its own is very cold.
Right. Okay. So, right, I'm going to be playing this video back myself, you know what I mean, and like picking information out of it. Yeah. Right, so I'm happy we've talked about Atlantic and we've got that idea. So we know with the Pacific, we know with our cold waters. Let's talk about inland waters, rivers. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Now,
Interesting one, yeah.
yeah, because obviously they can be all sorts of colours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give us some guys, give us some thoughts. When you paint rivers, what are the things that are going through your heads when it comes to the colours and how you want to portray them?
With rivers and lakes and things like that, what you first got to think of is your angle of view.
Okay.
I mean, are you on the ground looking at the river in front of you, or are you in an aeroplane looking down?
So technically, let's say you're on a mountain looking down in a valley, because with war games terrain, that is essentially where you would be at the scale.
Yeah.
So if I had a river running along here, it'd be like I'm sitting up on somewhere high looking down at sort of 45 degrees.
Right.
Yeah. So with that sort of angle.
Okay. I should explain why I said that.
Go on then.
Because on ground level, you see more at an oblique angle. So you're going to get less reflection of the colour of the sky and more reflection from what's around and underneath the water.
So like the foliage that's around.
Yeah, the surrounding area will impact on the colour of the water. So it'll be less inclined to be blue in a river or a lake, and more inclined to be more of a kind of a greyish colour.
Right, so more a bit like with the Atlantic, switching to a touch of a green in it, a grey green.
Yes, I actually for rivers and things like that, perhaps less of the green and more of the brown. So it'd be blue and brown.
Blue and brown for the rivers.
Yes, yeah,
right.
Blue and brown. So
would you still mix in a little bit of white like we did with that as well?
Yes, definitely a bit of white. Yeah. But again, it depends how deep it is. If it's a shallow river, then you use more white. A deeper river, you use less.
Right. So we're going with we're going with cold colour. We're going with a cold blue. Again, we're going to mix in the brown with a little bit of white for our for if you were looking at it straight on.
If you're down on ground level, looking across the surface of the water, it's going to be more than likely, except on a really brilliantly sunny day when obviously it will be blue, but 90% of the time, especially in the northern hemisphere, it will be a kind of a silvery grey colour. Most rivers and lakes too. When you're at a different angle, when you're in an aeroplane looking down, it's just going to reflect the sky.
Yeah.
But it's a deeper version of the colour of the sky, and usually a kind of like again, to use that word, a broken colour. So let's say the sky is, I don't know, there's cerulean blue like that, which is like a sky blue.
Yeah.
That reflected in a river would be the same as that from a high angle, but just broken with a bit of brown.
Right, so you'd mix a little brown with the light blue.
Yeah.
And that really does look like a bloody river.
Yeah, so if that's the colour of the sky, that would be the colour of the river.
Yeah.
If you see it, a kind of deeper, slightly broken version of the...
Yeah, so you've taken yeah, I see what you've done there.
A little bit of mud. It's like putting a bit of mud in the blue, because the brown is like mud, it's like a mud colour.
Now, just very quickly on mud, obviously you can have rivers that are completely one colour brown where, you know, mud's been washed down and stuff like that.
Yeah, especially in Burma or somewhere like that.
Yeah, you know, monsoons, you know, washing a lot of earth. You know, I used to see it a lot in Wales. Oh, right. Yeah, I used to go kayaking on the River Dee.
Oh yeah.
And if you had heavy rainfall on the mountains, a day later, what you get is you get you get a swollen river.
Yeah.
But also it also wash all the dirt down with it, and you get essentially brown.
Yes.
You know, prior to that, you could see the bottom, and then it would brown out because of the heavy downpour. Now, in the case of that, we're just going to be going with browns, aren't we? Earth browns.
Pretty much so. And for swamps as well, going to be pretty similar, kind of like a greenish brown.
Greenish brown?
Definitely for swamps, yes, because there's.
Go on, Kim was asking about swamps.
Yeah, there's more stuff in swamps other than just water. You know, there's all the greenery in there as well. So a greenish brown, excuse me, greenish brownish grey, really for swamps. They should be slightly warmer, if you know what I mean, in the key, and brown is a warm colour.
So okay, look, we've got some colours here. Yeah, something like that.
Right.
Army green.
Which is green, that's going to be like a.
That's going to be a drab green, isn't it?
Olive drab, yeah. So look. Now that'll be a good start for a swamp.
Yeah.
I think you probably need to mix in with a bit of blue with that.
Okay.
I'm going to mix oil paint with
Yeah,
colour, which is a no-no.
Do it. Just do it. It's what we do.
We'll see what happens.
That's working.
Yeah, it'll mix in. Yeah. Strangely enough, oil is water miscible. Not many people know that.
Oil is what?
Oil is water. You can mix water in oil.
You can't.
I just did.
No, but that's not supposed to happen like that.
No, it isn't really. No. So there you go. That's actually a kind of a pretty. That's going to be quite a nice bluish, kind of swampy colour.
So Kim, to answer your question about swamps, yeah, what we're looking at is army green or a drab olive green, yeah, and then just a little bit of blue. Yeah, just to sort of tint it and change it slightly, and it is. It's beautiful.
We used a phthalocyanine blue.
Yeah, that's our mid blue, isn't it? Because we've got a Prussian at one side and we've got our ultramarine at the other, and the cyanide is pretty much mid range.
Yeah, phthalocyanine is in the middle. Yeah, well, it's quite a deep one actually. It's a bit like towards the greenish end of the spectrum. Right. Yeah, and of course, to complicate matters even further, you also got to remember that every colour changes according to the colours that are adjacent to it.
Okay, here we go.
So
see, I was getting a handle on this, and now he's gone and thrown this in.
As long as you're dealing with sky and sea, then they're going to reflect each other's colour and reflect the light. The light will bounce from one to the other, and there'll be much of a muchness, if you know what I mean, within a certain colour range. But then if you've got a red boat in the middle of it, then the water around the red boat obviously is going to be affected by the red.
So would you mix perhaps in a little bit of brown for around the edges of the swamp, for where it comes to the literal edge where the water meets the bank?
Yeah, either green or brown depending on what the vegetation is like.
Right. Okay. So if it's a muddy area, you go with a brown. If it's heavily overgrown with bushes, we go with a little bit more green.
Yeah, because you get greenery underneath the water that's beginning to show through the surface. Yes.
Yeah. Right. Let's show them these colours. Yeah. There we go. Now, I don't know if it's coming up, but that drab olive green with the blue, it's really good. Question, what is Fred's shirt? I want to say Prussian blue, but it might be black in the light. He's taking the piss.
I'd say I'm close to like a pale ultramarine, actually.
Yeah, I will. Let's throw another photo on the terrainiacs of that green, because that's important. Can't believe you mixed acrylic and oil.
I know, it worked as well.
Yeah, no, that's a good one.
The only colour I didn't bring up with me actually is, because I don't have any at the moment, is cobalt blue, and that again is a bit like ultramarine. It's a reddish blue. It's just not quite as reddish as the ultramarine is.
Got you.
It's a rather expensive colour, cobalt blue.
Why?
I suppose because the cobalt in it. It does have like literally the mineral cobalt in it, which is an expensive mineral.
Right.
So it's like 50 quid a tube or something.
Yeah, that's why we don't do terrain with oil paint.
It's expensive stuff sometimes. Yeah.
Algae. Right. What about greens? Some of the rivers here present a nice jade or muted green. Algae in swamps.
Right. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Then you want. Interestingly enough, the colour called eau de Nil, which literally means water of the Nile.
Eau de Nil, water of the Nile. Okay.
Yeah, the French on the expedition in 1798 to Egypt.
Yeah.
Came back with a passion for this colour. It was the colour of the Nile, which is kind of like as you know, like a turquoisey greenish kind of greyish blue. And they called it eau de Nil and became big fashion in Europe after that. Everybody painted the living rooms with it. But it's actually the colour of the Nile. And like you say, it's like kind of like a muted jade, really.
Right.
So we can make it eau de Nil. So that's going to be like a little bit of turquoise.
Yeah.
A little bit of white.
Yeah.
And I'd say probably a little bit of that as well, which is the phthalocyanine blue.
Yeah.
Let's get in there. That's pretty close to eau de Nil.
And it literally is that light?
Yeah, it's usually a pale colour, eau de Nil, yeah. Perhaps a bit of green. That's not quite green enough. That's better.
Ah.
So it's white, a greenish blue, and a bit of green. Quite similar to the turquoise, but it should be a bit deeper. I haven't quite got it deep enough. Because you're right, it is a bit too pale. I'll get there in a minute.
It's all right. Take your time, mate.
Yeah, that's see what I'm doing now is I'm isolating that colour from everything else by looking at it through my hands, making
Yeah.
it like a telescope with my hands. And when you do that, it's amazing what a difference it makes because you're seeing that in relation to the white and all the other colours around it. But then when you isolate it, it really is quite turquoise as opposed to original.
You're right.
So I didn't quite get that right, did I?
Mate.
Got to use a bit of your brain. Ah, that's getting better. That's getting better. That's more like an
Right.
It should be like a turquoisey, bluey, browny, grey.
Oh, that's a bloody descriptor. Turquoisey, bluey, browny, grey. I'll just throw all the colours I've used in there, and it's roughly that colour.
Well, that's not far off.
Right.
Yeah, you can see the difference between the turquoises. It's browner, a bit deeper.
Yeah.
And warmer.
Yeah.
Turquoise tends towards the core. So anyway, I'm complicate myself what I was going to say.
So we've covered the swamps. We've talked about mixing drab green with a little bit of of mid blue. Yeah, we've talked about the Atlantics. We've talked about the rivers and that sort of stuff. Yeah, and the idea of reflections of colours. Yeah, is a good way of getting it right. Not just the depth of colour representing the depth of the river. Yeah. But also what it's next to. If there's a load of overhanging trees, then that particular area would have a little bit more green mixed in with the mix.
Anything that's adjacent will have an effect on the colour of the water and and the light hitting the water. And of course the sky is the biggest thing. I mean, if you've got like a warm sky, then the water has to be usually has to be like a warmish colour. There are rare exceptions to that. In certain atmospheric conditions, you can get a warm sky and cool water.
Right.
I'm sure you've probably seen that. It's kind of unusual.
But it can happen.
Yeah,
like everything in nature, everything can possibly happen in some way.
Absolutely, yes. It's unusual though, yeah.
What is the RAL colour code for that, please? Oh, just a minute.
What's that? The RAL.
Well, guys, I think that's the first time we've had a sex cam advertised in the chat. Yeah, someone coming along promoting some adult site, and it's not Westy for once. One of our one of our regulars, Westy, West Side. Yeah, he works over in Amsterdam.
All right.
Yeah, for a company that make aids, high-tech aids.
Oh right. Yes.
You know what I mean? And it best paint shakers you'll ever find in your life, man. Oh, I'm glad I haven't missed it. Took longer to put the little ones to bed than I thought. Fred and Mel, I just want to say you're both masters in your respective works. He certainly is. He certainly is. Yeah, we're all learning so much. And like I say, the idea is I'm going to take this information, we're going to put on a load of colours and graduate them on that board, and then we're going to put the resin in with a little tint, and then what we're going to do is progressively tint it more to see how the tint affects it as well.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Now we've got just a blue tint, but once we've established that, then I'm going to start messing around with the tints and the concentrations of the tints and the colours of the tint as well, because that's like it's like playing with two variables. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I want to nail down the base colour. Yeah, with just keeping the tint as one standard tint across the lot to get a feel for that before I move on and start messing with the tints. What I don't want to do is be messing with the colours and the tints at the same time, because you're not going to work anything out. So that's the terrain lab. This is where this information is going. And it's one of the reasons why I keep nailing Fred down to start with this colour, mix in this colour, go with this colour. Yeah, because I'm going to have to do it afterwards. Yeah, and actually replicate this. RAL is model building paint colour code. Don't know it, mate. Never heard of it. Yeah. But I'm damn sure if you just Google what you call it, the colours Fred's talking about, you will get a wiki page with all the relevant references on. I mean, that's pretty standard when you Google colours. You get a reference page nowadays on Wikipedia.
Yes, I should think so. Yeah, any of these colours, you should be able to Wikipedia and you'll get information on them. I did miss out another one as well, which is aquamarine,
Oh, go on.
which its name says it all.
Yeah.
Basically, we are talking about water. I don't actually use it in my palette, but it is a
Why
colour
not?
that you can get. I guess because it's one a colour I mix.
You mix it.
You can mix it up, yeah, but you can get it as a ready mix.
So where would we use aquamarine?
Again, this kind of Pacific turquoise. It's a turquoisey pale.
It's a warm colour then.
It's warm turquoisey blue. Yes, aquamarine. So Mediterranean shallows in the Mediterranean and shallows in the Pacific.
Right. Okay. So that's where aquamarine fits in.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a perfect colour for your Pacific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've covered, right, we've talked about warm colours, we've talked about cold colours, we've talked about inland rivers and the idea of not just the colours, yeah, but also the idea of, to make it more realistic, reflecting what's around it and using those colours and mixing that in with the mix. Yeah. Any other water that we haven't mentioned that you can think of? Because I mean, we've talked about like flash flooding with the mud.
Yes.
Yeah, we've talked about swamp, and we've talked about the idea of going with a drab green and using which one was it? I can't remember the bloody name of that now. Middle one.
Phthalocyanide.
Phthalocyanide, using phthalocyanide, yeah, or a medium blue, yeah, to sort of just slightly tint it off the green.
Right, yes.
Yeah, tint that colour for the swamps. So we've covered swamps, we've covered rivers, we've covered cold water, we've covered warm water. Yeah. Any other sorts that we could think of? Waterfalls, stuff like that.
I was just thinking of that. Waterfalls or a very, very choppy river, with a lot of foam and froth in it. Obviously, then there's not going to be any reflection from the sky at all.
Oh, right. So okay.
Yeah, because the calmer the water is, the more likely it's going to
reflect.
Why
watch it choppy water and waterfalls always appear cold?
Yeah, it is, because the more undulating the surface is, the less it reflects the blue of the sky.
You guys will know what I mean. Anyone who's looked at a waterfall or a choppy water, you always get that cold feeling, even on a warm day.
Yes, it's like grayish.
You know what I mean? And that's down to the fact that it's not reflecting the light. That's
right. Yeah, it's not reflecting the light. So I suppose in the sense it's the purest waterish colour
you could get,
if you like, because it's not reflecting anything else, because it is choppy and it's not smooth and
so
able to
for rougher water you would transition from, say, let's say we were doing our water as a warm water for the rivers. Yeah, we're setting it warm environment somewhere in the Mediterranean, but we have a river and it's quite choppy. For the choppy areas you would go with more an Atlantic colour scheme.
Yes.
Or perhaps not exactly, but the idea of a colder colour scheme.
Definitely colder. It'd be like a greenish blue mixed with the brown and white, but you'd have to remember to put plenty of white in it.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be quite pale, like a palish grey. You might say like a steel grey.
Right. Okay.
Would be a good way to describe it. Water that's choppy, water that's coming down in the rivulets and in a fountain. Obviously, the highlights will be white where there's any foam or froth, but the bits that are not foamy and frothy will be a kind of like a pale steel grey, silvery grey.
A silvery grey, yeah.
Because of that non-reflectivity, because it's undulating, it's not reflecting the colour of the sky,
For combat, asking, who is the other master, by the way? It's Fred. You've heard me talk about Fred. Yeah, so rapids. That's what we're talking about now. So rapids would be cold because they're not reflecting the warmth of the sky. Yeah.
The choppier it is, the less blue it's likely to be, actually, yeah, and the greyer it's likely to be. Ditto the North Atlantic as well, of course. If it's choppier, it's going to be less blue and more towards this kind of greenish.
So what about what you call it, the Pacific, the choppy Pacific? How would you do that?
Again, it wouldn't be as blue as it would on a calm day.
Right.
But actually, from my observations, even a choppy sea in the Pacific is bluer than a choppy sea in the North Atlantic.
It's
which
still
would be greyer.
Difference.
Yeah, because of that warmth and the light, Even on a dull day, it's still warmer light in the southern hemisphere than in the north.
Right.
Yeah.
Before we wrap this up, because we've pretty much talked water now. We've got enough on the colours to be moving forward. And to be perfectly honest, I think if Fred gives us any more information, we're going to be too much information. Yeah, we need to work in steps. But I do want to show you some stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, and get your thoughts on them. Now, these are acrylic gels.
Okay.
It's a heavy gel medium with an acrylic tint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mediterranean blue.
Mediterranean blue. We have Pacific blue.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we
you can see that's a warmer blue. It's redder.
Yeah. We have an Atlantic blue. I think that's what we've got because these are both Pacific and Atlantic.
Yeah, that's definitely a grayer blue. Yeah.
Yeah. So
greener. Yeah.
Yeah. So these fit in with what you're saying. If you open them up,
yeah,
you'll actually see at the top of the lid, yeah, where it starts to go sort of translucent.
Oh right. Yes. Yeah.
They go partly clear.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah. So
perfect.
they're a heavy gel. They're designed to be laid down with the spatula.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're opaque when they go, but that will go completely clear by the time it's done. But these colours are roughly right for what they're saying. Okay. Yeah. So for the Atlantic, it is.
A bit squidged out.
It's all right. To go for it, Fred.
I'll get creative with your paints.
You do it, man. You do it, mate. This is like, say, this is what I used to do the D-Day board.
Yeah. It's a nice colour, that, actually. That's Pacific blue, that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lovely, that's like, yeah, like a Mediterranean, like an ultramarine blue with a little bit of the neutral blue mixed in.
Yeah.
So, but I see what you mean, but it is transparent, isn't it? It's like
it will go.
Yeah.
It'll dry clearer, completely clear.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, it will dry completely clear, translucent, but with the tinted. I haven't got I used to have some test pieces, that I used to, I could show you on those, but I threw them bloody away. But these are from Vallejo. Now, Vallejo is a paint manufacturer in our game.
Spanish.
Yeah?
Yeah, they make oil paints as well.
Do they?
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, the Spanish. Yeah, made in Spain.
So those are. So if you were using those would be right for what they say they are. Then you think that's right?
They look pretty darn good. So the Mediterranean blue is perhaps a little greener than I would have made it because usually Mediterranean is quite sunny and warm, and that's perhaps a tad on the greenish.
Yeah, a bit too green.
For me, for the Mediterranean, I'd use that and just add a little bit of the Pacific blue in.
Right, just darken it with a bit of Pacific.
Well, just to make it slightly less greenish, because this reddish blue will neutralise the greenish.
Right. Right, okay.
But
I just wanted to check with having them and do these actually work? Right, guys, I think, what are we on? We've hit 9 o'clock. Yeah, we've had Fred for well over an hour now. If you've got any final questions about water and colours with water and that sort of stuff, let's get them in now. And then what we're going to do is in a couple of weeks, fancy coming back and talk about bushes and trees.
Certainly, yeah.
We'll talk about greens and reds and foliage and that sort of stuff. Because obviously we mix our own colours to mix with foam to make clump foliage that we put on the trees.
Right.
Yeah, so we need to figure out the right colours to be mixing.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think it'd be a real bonus. Let me come round to this side.
Brilliant, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah. What do you call it? If you've got any more questions for Fred, before we let him go away and sort himself out before his missus comes pick him up. Kez is picking me up at 10.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, so I've got a few bits and bobs. Yeah, finally, if you would like to make a donation and thank Fred for all this information, and thank me and all that sort of stuff, this is your chance for PayPaling, you know what I mean? The address is on the screen. Send a couple of quid just to say thank you for all this information. Yeah, to clarify what I'm going to be doing with this, I'm going to be going back and watching this live show, so I can write down everything. And then what we're going to do is we're going to paint up a board, with the various colours. I'm going to then put borders around it, and then we're going to do a resin pour into it, and that'll be a terrain lab video. And the idea is I want to establish almost a recipe for you guys. So when you come along and you say, how do I do such and such water, I can go this much colour, this much colour, this much colour, highlight with this, and when you do your resin tint you need it like this. That's the plan, and that's what Fred's here to sort of help me work out the colour side. You'll have to come up for the resin pour when we mess around with the tints as well.
Yes, I will. Yeah,
that'll be really good. Yeah. Everyone's saying they're going to have to rewatch it. Would a tint in the resin allow you to have different colours when viewed from a shallow angle compared to above? Sam, they would, but it'd have to be an incremental pour. Yeah, so what you have to do is tint the resin one, yeah, lay that down, and then slowly in layers graduate the tinting, yeah, to get that effect. And I don't know if we do the depth. I mean, Wargames terrain, we typically only pour a couple of millimeters of resin because it's flat.
Yes.
Yeah, the resin I use, the glass cast, can be poured up to 15 inches.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, that was a shocker for me. So it is possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would definitely create an interesting effect, wouldn't it?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. Right. So I don't know if we're going to have any more questions. I don't know if we're going to have any more WatchClip PayPals. But I've got to say straight off, yeah, absolutely awesome, man.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming up and sharing the information. No, genuinely, you know, we appreciate it. You know, and I appreciate it, dude. Fred's a good friend of mine. You know, we sort of go around each other's houses and have curry nights, and we're going to have to organise another one soon as well.
Yeah, we will indeed. Yes. Yeah. So that's what was good. Yeah.
And the thing about Fred is, yeah, he's a bit of a war gamer from past, aren't you?
I am indeed. Yes.
Yeah. Go on. What did you used to play and when?
Well, my friend and I focused on Napoleonic.
Yeah.
Spanish, the Peninsular War.
Yeah.
And that was 1970 something.
Possibly before I was born, because I was born in 75, so there's a 50-50 chance your gaming career ended before I came on this planet, man.
You picked up when I left off?
Exactly. Yeah.
About 69, 70.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I have done is I have lent Fred a copy of the 2nd edition Bolt Action rulebook.
Yes, I'm wading through it. It's very complicated.
You don't have to learn it, dude. Just look at the pictures and you know, WatchClip.
Oh no, I'm interested to know.
It's, right, well, in which case, you know, when you're ready, we'll get some games on.
Absolutely,
yeah. My great uncle's in that book.
Is he?
Yeah. If you're looking, if you look for the Nazis and the Japs, yeah, he sided with the Japanese and Hitler against the British in Burma. Yeah. Subhash Chandra Bose. Yeah, and he led the rebellion against the British. Yeah, in Burma.
Fantastic.
Yeah, the first I actually discovered about that, and my uncle being this Nazi, fascist Nazi, was reading the Bolt Action rule. I'm like, Bose, that's my uncle. I mean,
oh my goodness.
No, I mean outside the family home in Shamnagar, it's the Subhash Chandra Bose Memorial Park, and there's a bloody big statue to him. Wow. That's how I know him, because I've been to the family home. I'm like, I know the park.
Yes.
So when I saw his name in the Bolt Action book, it was like, he did what? Oh shit. Yeah. Okay, Alan saying, Fred, thank you. Huge amounts of info in a very short time. Yes, it was a lot huge, which is one of the reasons why I'm going to be going and breaking it down for you guys, and I'll present it in a video like we do. Question about okay. Question: what about doing blood in water from a massive battle? So D-Day, bodies in the How would you do that? How would you add the blood? How would you represent that? Do you think?
That's an interesting question.
It is well out of your remit normally, but
you know, think about that one for a minute. Yes. Well, it's blood isn't as, for a start off, blood isn't as red as people think. Actually, it tends to be slightly browner, than most people think. So I would be disinclined to use a very bright red. I think you need like an iron oxide red, like an earth red, would be better. And if you put that in the water. Yeah, that's a bit pure, that one. Yeah,
bit too
red. A bit too. We
want some
redder red.
Chaotic red.
Yeah, it looks a bit better.
Yeah, that's a bit irony, isn't it?
Yeah, because.
Yeah, look at that acrylic medium. No, it's the way they ship, mate. It's pretty standard. It will come out, trust me. Yeah, the pigments are heavy in that. I'm not going to have any acrylic medium left in that bugger.
No, you're not, are you?
Yeah. Easy way.
It's all coming out. Oh, right, yeah. Have a look.
There you are.
That's perfect. Look at that.
Yeah.
Slightly blue, perhaps. So you could use that with just a touch of brown in it. Right.
So to get blood in the water, Fred's suggesting you go for something like a rich red. I would call this. Fred wouldn't. But it's basically more an irony red. war paint style, you're talking about the chaotic red. Okay, that colour. And you were saying mix in a little bit of brown, did you say?
Yeah, that's just a little bit kind of bluish. So just a little bit of brown
Yeah.
in with that, just a little bit, would make it, I'd say, absolutely perfect.
Yeah, so Rudy, that answers your question.
Yeah.
Okay, question about the oil on water. How would you do, would you use pearlescent effects?
Well, that's an interesting idea as well, yeah, because when oil is on water, you get that kind of iridescent sheen, don't you? Like mother of pearl.
Yeah.
Ooh, no, that's a tricky one actually, because obviously the oil is black, so you'd want to put black.
That's not right.
In the as the slick on the water, or in the water, I should say. But then you'd need to tinge the black here and there with iridescent colours, which are going to be green, blue.
Right. Just to clarify, yeah, iridescent is something that we guys don't come across very often. Yeah. If I want, iridescent is that sort of shiny that changes colour depending on how you look at it. Easiest way to sort of describe it is think like Eldar. Think Eldar bone terrain. Yeah. That's often seen as mother of pearlish. Now, what you can get is you can get acrylic mediums, which are essentially acrylic, yeah, without the actual pigment in. And you can get an iridescent medium, yeah, which is basically the shiny stuff that you can mix paint into. Yeah, and so with doing the oil slicks, I'd probably recommend going that route and using an iridescent medium on top of as a thin coat where you want the oil. Maybe mix it in with a little bit of black to get the slick, but I think that would work really well. Tell you what, we'll experiment with it at some point, okay?
Again, as well, I wouldn't use pure black for the oil slick. I'd put a little bit of brown in the black.
Yeah, because it isn't black, is it?
No, it isn't. It's something more like bitumen, isn't it? It's like a brownish black.
Yeah, it's just slightly off.
So pure black wouldn't look quite. Pure black would be a bit too harsh. So get your black and put, I'd say about 10% brown in it. And that will just mellow the black and make it less harsh,
Oh, what about orc blood in water? Piss off, combat. Diggy. Oh, here we go. We're really attracting them tonight. We've got naked girls waiting for us. Look, I know full well they're not. Right. Martin Warriors get heading off. Right, so check out Deco Art interference paints. I've achieved this effect using metallic green and black with an interference glaze. What's an interference paint, mate?
Interference paint is used usually by graphic designers and people like that, and it's the most obvious one to quote or reference is photo blue.
Right.
Photo blue is that colour they use on the drop screens on the TV.
Yeah.
When they project a different image.
Right.
Onto it. Behind the person, and because it's blue, it doesn't register. If you know what I mean.
It's like green screening and that sort of stuff. But they use photo blue.
Yeah, it's like a neutral. So when it's on camera, it's like neutral.
Right.
So it will pick up whatever else is projected onto it.
Right.
I think that's pretty much how it works.
Can you buy pearlescent and iridescent acrylic paints for airbrushing? You can buy. Oh yeah, so you can buy pearlescent, iridescent acrylic paints for airbrushing.
Yeah.
So they exist.
Yeah.
What goes on in Stoke? You don't want, mate. It's a den of iniquity out here. I think we've got 2 brothels just around the corner.
What happens in Stoke stays in
Stoke. That should be what happens in Stoke stays in Stoke, shouldn't it? Right, guys. Yeah, we're on about 1/4 past. Are there any last questions? Because I'm going to wrap this up at 1/2 past, I think. Yeah. And so, let Fred get on his way. Let him tidy his studio. Let me tidy my studio ready to be picked up. And I also think my brain's aching. I mean, that you've given us that much information, mate.
Oh, I hope it's useful. And,
look, everything you have given us today has been useful. The challenge for me is that I've got to go home tonight, sit down, re-watch the live show, and sort of document it in a way that I can put it in a tutorial form.
Right.
So that the information. The thing about the live shows is the live shows are good for people interacting, but because it's so long and it's rambly, it's not good for learning.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's always better to bring like this information and condense it down.
Yeah, kind of bullet points.
Yeah, you know, bring it in. Right, this is how we're going to do. You know, the hope is we do the terrain labs, and then off the back of the terrain labs, I'll be able to come and do river tutorials, but not just this is how you do a river. We'll be able to do this is a warm river, this is a cold river, this is a choppy river. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A mess for it. That's where we're going with this. Yeah, I've been quite keen to take the standard of my terrain up. Yeah, and that also it doesn't only just affect the building of the terrain and the techniques, but also affects the colours, which, like a lot of you guys, yeah, you know, and like I spoke to Mike last night, we struggle with this because we are not classically trained. We're not trained as artists. We're not trained in colour theory. You know, the idea of warm and cold light, you know, this is like, all right, this is a new factor. You know, you tell me there's warm and cold whites and stuff like that, you know, it throws us. Yeah, and so, you know, the idea is I'm going to, with Fred's help, with getting the base colours and hopefully Fred's help with the tinting, yeah, we should be able to produce some beautiful terrain. And I should be able to nail down like a small series of videos, yeah, where we go through the lot.
Yes.
So, this glaze which contains microchips. This is a glaze that contains microchips, and the colour changes between the paint colour and the base colour underneath it. See, right. Yeah. Kim's saying, girls are waiting for you guys. They are known as your wives. Yes, I know our wives. Kerry will be waiting in about 45 minutes for me. Yeah. How would you paint non-metallic gold? James, no. No, we're not doing that. We'll do that in another show. Yeah, we're talking water.
Interesting question, then.
Non-metallic metals is quite common in that because, you know, actually trying to paint the highlights and the transitions and reflections of a metal surface without using metallics, it's a challenge with it because of the armour, gold armour and all sorts of big weapons.
Yes.
Non-metallic metal painting is like, it's a specialty within model painting.
Okay.
Yeah, which is why there's an interest in how would you do it. Yeah, because everyone's like trying to get the angle on of how to do non-metallic painting, but I think it's too deep for tonight, to be perfectly honest.
In the 1840s, a French painter called Eugène Delacroix had exactly the same problem. He was painting a picture and he wanted to paint the effect of gold in his picture, and he was using yellow and he was using yellow ochre and nothing was working. So in desperation, he went out to get a cab in Paris to go to the Louvre to see how the old masters would have dealt with the problem. And when he went out, it was a sunny day. The cabs in those days, the hackney cabs, as they would have been, the horse-drawn hackney cabs, were bright yellow.
Right.
And as he was about to get into the cab to go to the Louvre, he noticed that the bright yellow cab was casting a violet-purple shadow in the sunlight.
Okay.
And he didn't need to go to the Louvre anymore. He went back into his room and he painted his yellow, and then he put violet next to it. And the violet next to it made the yellow look like gold.
Whoa! There you go. Give that a go. I'm not a model painter, but you guys can give that a go.
Yeah. It's the colour next to it makes a difference.
I complained about the lighting in the studio for ages. What are you going on about? Non-metallic questions. How would you show submerged things, skeletons? I think, to be truthful, with submerged things, and we will physically embed those in the resin rather than, you know, using colours. Yeah, the thing what you've got to remember is when we do Wargames terrain, when I do a resin pour, it may only be a couple of millimeters, but I need to convey the depth, that is actually, it could be a couple of miles deep for all you know. And that's where the colours come in. When it comes to submerged items, in that case, you are actually going to have to play with submerging them in the resin. Yeah, because you can't really play with colour depth that way with submerged items. I've tried in the past and it doesn't really work. You can't paint them on or anything like that. It doesn't look right. Yeah, so I think we're going to wrap it up. We're 20 past 9 and I think we've had lots of questions. I think we're done with the PayPal, so I'd like to thank you all for donating towards my microphone and Fred's beer fund. Fred's definitely coming back. Like I say, he's in the studio directly below me and we're mates, so he will be back on a live show. What I need to do now is take this information, break it down, make it into something more useful for you guys, and then start setting up on the terrain lab. Yeah. All right. You have to mute the colours to emphasise depth and add a hue to the colour, and add a hue of the colour of the water. Is that right?
Yes, yes. Muting the colours would definitely emphasise the depth. Yes, that's
Yeah.
true. And certainly putting a touch of black in as well.
Yeah.
Will both neutralise the colour and also give it a lot of depth.
All right.
Make it look deep.
Right, so I am going to call it now. Listen, guys, I know we've only been a couple of hours, yeah, but I think it has been well worth it. Yeah, massive thank you to Fred. Yeah,
thank you.
I don't care about getting oil paint on my hands. I don't mind.
I'm like a Smurf.
Rather tall. Papa Smurf.
But shall I leave this with you?
Please do, mate.
Yeah,
please
sure,
do. Yeah, because that'll be my reference.
Okay.
Yeah.
No
I'll be looking at that whilst watching the video.
Right.
Yeah,
yes,
you know what I mean. Yeah.
A memoir.
Yeah, so just to give you an update on the channel, yeah, I am working on terrain tutorials. We are working on videos. They're not going to be out till next week. So the next time you see me will be Sunday night at home on the Sunday Nighter. After that, expect videos to roll as usual. We will be having a terrain lab on this. We're going to be pouring resin and all sorts and having great fun. And we will have Fred back. So in the meantime, I'm just going to say, listen, guys, thanks for coming on. Thanks for watching. Thank you, Fred, for sharing the information. And thank you all for your support for me and Fred. Yeah, it's been absolutely awesome. See you soon, guys.
I know.
Right, just let me click off before...